this morning's going to run, it's all about mental health today, and we have a wonderful guest speaker, Rachel Lee, who's joining us from the land of down under. She's joining us from Oz. So it's all about mental health and well-being, okay, this morning. Now, how this is going to work, guys, we're going to, our beautiful Karen, who is just such a whiz with technology and puts together all this music and all of these images, and I just like, she impresses me more and more every day. Karen is going to do a scan of all of us. So the frequency device called a Healy has a quantum sensor in it. Now, this is the future medicine, guys. So this quantum sensor, with intention, a clear intention, can read our field, all of us collectively as a group. She's going to scan us for mental health. It's going to come up on the Healy, what frequencies we require today, and we're going to receive them for the duration of the call. So that's what's going to happen first. Then I'm going to invite Rachel to speak, and I'll introduce her in a bit, and that's going to all be about mental health and well-being. And then we'll open it up to Q&A and have a little chat about the frequencies that came up in the scan if we've got time a bit later. So that's how this morning is going to run. And if you're watching this on the recording a bit later, you will receive these frequencies because intention is everything. So relax and enjoy. Put any questions in the chat. And Karen, take it away. So Karen is going to show us how we do a bioresonance scan for the group for one of the Healy programs, because we have 144 of them, called Mental Health. Okay,
good morning, everyone. So I'm just going to share my screen. Let's see if I can figure out how to do this again. Oh. So that's us going into the Healy itself. And today, because we said we're going to run, we're talking all about mental health. So what we do first is we're going to add a new client. Because there's a group of us, if you don't mind, I'm going to take a photo of everybody that's on the call. And like we said, it will carry on anybody else who's going to listen to it later on. So we're going to have, it's just actually naming it, and you could, this was doing it for yourself, you could do whatever group or thing you want it to do. And we'll put today's date, 1st of June. Crikey, that's we're halfway through. So, and if you hear the snoring behind, that's my dog, Molly. So it's not me. I haven't fallen asleep on you. So today we're going to do, because we're doing mental health, we're actually going to run the scan for mental balance. And then, as Anita said, later on, what we'll do is we can have a look and see if any of this actually resonated with anybody. Okay, let's have a look. As you can see, we've got a variety of different programs. So today the intention is, what is it that we actually require, what is it we require for our mental health? And that is the intention. So by me putting my finger on the fingerprint, that's it. Actually, what we require as the group. Okay. And as you can see, we've got 52% emotional well-being, 48% well-being soul, 43% feel-good system, 42% contentment system, 37% inner unity. So what this is doing is taking the top 5 programs out of all the programs in the mental balance programs, and that is what we as a group require this morning. So as we're going on to Rachel and explaining how she's used Healy for her life, and well-being. I'm going to vibrate this for the duration of the call, and then we can check back afterwards and see how everyone's doing.
Beautiful. Thank you, Karen. So can I just ask everybody, if you're not muted, please, my loves, but love to see you just joining the call. Could you just please mute yourself? We know what it's like. I have a kitten in the background when she's in and she just meows. So receive these lovely frequencies and let me introduce you to our lovely guest speaker today. So Rachel from Down Under. I used to live there, Rachel. I lived there for 5 years. Anyway, so Rachel is an intuitive energy worker and high frequency life and business coach. Her desire to create true impact in the world led her on a journey and a career in nursing and paramedicine. She built a successful career in conventional health, but craved more, which led her on a path to explore alternative healing modalities, coaching, and the world of social selling. Rachel is passionate about supporting others to discover the secrets of the universe, yay, hands up who isn't, and to bridge the gap between science and spirituality, yeah, and tuning into a higher frequency so they can unlock their true blueprint and release limitations from mind and energetic body. So Rachel's on a mission to empower holistic health practitioners and healers and coaches to realize their true divine superpowers and high vibrations and all of that. And do you know, now is the time, guys. The old is done. We're here to embrace the new. So Rachel, over to you, my love. Tell us how, you know, your journey with Healy, how you're using it for mental health, how you have used it, and all those wonderful things. And can I ask any of the guests, if you have a question, just pop it in the chat and let us know where you're calling in from, okay, today. So all of that in the chat. Thank you. Over to you, Rachel.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Anita. Excuse my rainbow bright kind of face here. It's bright red on this camera, even though I've got my little lighting thing on. I had a bit of a skin procedure done today, so that is why I'm looking so red. I'm not normally this red, but thank you very much for having me on this call today, and for, I guess, allowing me to share what I feel is a very important topic, and that is, you know, that of our mental health and well-being. I mean, I feel that we are in the real pandemic, if you like, is the pandemic of the mental health pandemic that we have right now. I'm sure many of you can agree that the last couple of years has really taken its toll on us globally. You know, we've had pandemics, we've had lockdowns, we've had so much going on the planet. Like, these are unprecedented times, and we have experienced and suffered very much so in terms of our mental health and well-being over the last couple of years. And we are seeing the real pandemic now starting to come through. The systems were broken and stretched before this, but now they are incredibly stretched, and it's a true mental health crisis that we're experiencing right now. So I'm incredibly passionate about talking about this topic. I have embodied experience in this field. As Anita had said, I come from a conventional health background. I spent, in fact, the last 20 years working in the capacity of an emergency nurse and paramedic here in large metropolitan areas, mostly in Queensland in Australia. And I guess, you know, 20 years in that space really started to take its toll on my mental health and well-being. And, you know, I was good at managing my state. I was really good at managing my symptoms, you know. And here's the thing with like PTSD, right, is that it's so insidious. It comes on so slowly. In fact, you don't really know that you even have a problem until it becomes a real big problem. And that is not only my experience as an emergency health worker, but the experience of many of my colleagues that have been working in this space for as long as we have. I mean, you really can't be working in this space without having some kind of mental health or trauma that you're holding, trapped in your body. And here's the thing, right? I always knew, even though I was working in conventional health, I always knew that, trapped trauma in the body and suppressed emotions manifest as disease and illness, right? I've seen it so many times. So I was very fearful. The lens of the world that I had was one of, a constant state of fear and panic. Like, I would get a headache and it would be a brain tumor. I couldn't take my children to the park without, feeling like something really terribly wrong was going to happen. My entire lens of the world was one of fear and one of, everything was dangerous. There was danger everywhere. And because of my career, I just kind of thought that was normal. I just thought that was just, a normal feeling for people to have. And of course, part of my conditioning as a paramedic and as an emergency nurse was to just push all of this stuff down, right? And we all do that. We all do that to a certain extent. We all hold our emotions. We all suppress, and shut our mouths to keep the peace or whatever. But that's all suppression, right? It's all suppressed emotion. So, my story might be this end of the extreme, but if you think about it, we can all relate to this in some way. It's trapped trauma, and it doesn't have to be mass trauma to the extent that I experienced. It's trauma of everyday nature, everyday kind, and it's suppressed emotions. And, I was just pushing all of that down because I couldn't allow myself to express that, because in my case, it was a case of, I was not allowed to allow myself to feel. Otherwise, I could get emotional and I could lose my shit and not be able to do my job, not be able to do my work. But the same applies for people who are not working in this space, right? You might keep your mouth closed to keep the peace, to whatever. But again, it's the same thing. It's suppressing the emotions. And then those suppressed emotions and that trapped trauma getting stuck in the body. And it is my belief, and in fact, science now really proves that, if we store that trauma and that emotion in our bodies, that manifests as disease. And just as, my beliefs would, come to fruition, in August last year, I was actually diagnosed with breast cancer. And, like I said, I always knew that constant stress and constant suppression and trauma, if not dealt with, does manifest as disease. And I had 20 years of it. 20 years of it trapped in my body. So, I was not surprised to receive that diagnosis of breast cancer. And in that diagnosis, I kind of got to work in actually releasing some of that trapped trauma, actually really being serious about looking and nurturing my mental health, because for so long, I knew that my mental health was a little bit of an issue, but I never had really seriously treated the root cause, if you like. Look, when Healy came into my world back in, 2019, I originally got the device because I was really curious to see if it could support me with my mental health, because I looked at the disclaimer and I saw that this device was, a medical device that can be used for the treatment of pain, chronic pain, fibromyalgia, as well as being a tool to use for people who are experiencing mental health disorders such as anxiety, depression, and sleep-related disorders. Now, I know from someone coming from a medical background that to make that kind of disclaimer, then those conditions are really hard to treat. So I knew that when I saw that if this device could do what it says it could do, then this was going to be a game changer. So I was curious to see if it could help me with my anxiety and my stress and that fear that I was experiencing of the world. And so I got the device, and, you know, I was a little skeptical, to be honest, even though I'd worked in the space of energy and frequency. And, you know, I was, you know, I believed in the more alternative and holistic medical, you know, holistic healing modalities. I believed it, but I was a little skeptical because I was thinking, you know, what can this device really do that's going to treat fibromyalgia and, you know, anxiety, you know, because I know how difficult those things are to really address. So I got the device and I ran the programs that it told me to run. So, you know, what we've just seen is we have the ability with the quantum sensor inside of these devices and this technology that we have. The quantum sensor is able to actually analyze our bioenergetic field, and it will then identify imbalances and then make specific recommendations for which programs that you need in that moment. So, you know, because let's face it, a lot of the stuff that we think we might need, we might actually not even be aware of. So I remember doing a scan for myself, and it came up showing me that I needed to run an eye program. And I was thinking, well, there's really nothing wrong with my eyes. I'm going to go and run energy or something else. I can't remember what it was. And I went and ran that program and ignored what showed up for me on the scan. And then 4 hours later, my eye became red and inflamed. So I guess that I share that story, and it's a little bit off topic in terms of mental health, but I share that story to really illustrate that what comes through for us may or may not make sense. And what comes through for us is sometimes actually not really physically manifested in the physical body yet, right? So when it came to looking and like focusing on my mental health, there were a lot of programs that were actually revealed to me, you know, that I may not have, you know, a lot of the mental balance programs obviously came through in my scans and my analysis. I intuitively also chose, because we get a choice, right? With this device, we get a choice, as we get a whole menu of programs that we get to access, and we can intuitively choose which programs we want to run. Or we can run to the resonance analysis and do an analyzing scan, and then, you know, be guided by which programs to run. So I did a little bit of both. I intuitively chose programs, and then I was guided by the analysis. And so I did a little bit of both. I ran a lot of the anxiety programs, which is in the local stimulation group. It's program number 8. So I ran that program. I also ran a lot of the mental balance programs. So, you know, things like emotional well-being, I ran that program. I ran the, you know, inner being soul. There are just so many beautiful programs inside of the mental balance area. But I also ran programs like some of the meridian programs, like the liver. And then if you look deeper into, you know, what the liver represents from a Chinese medicine perspective, you're looking at things like anger, unresolved grief, and things like that. So, you know, again, this illustrates that even though we've got an organ and a physical part of the body that is showing up in our and in our scan, it doesn't necessarily, it has this energetic component to it as well, which relates to mental health and well-being, right? Because the mind, the body, and the soul are all connected, right? We can't have a physical manifestation of something without there being, you know, a soul or a you know, emotional factor behind it. And that's just the reality. Science now proves that, right? So, you know, I just ran the programs that it told me to run. And I was in full trust of that in the beginning. And then I tried to get cheeky and then cheat it, and then got the red eye and all of that. So I've never not trusted the analysis from that moment on. But I ran the programs that it told me to run. And then literally about 3 weeks after I was using the device, running roughly about 3 programs per day. I wasn't even really working with the full functionality of this device in the first couple of months, because I was just purely running with microcurrent programs. And what we know with microcurrent programs as well is that they act on the cellular level. So they actually, frequencies delivered by the microcurrents actually act on a cellular level, and they restore the cell membrane potential back to its normal level. So, you know, this was all working on like the subatomic level, on a cellular level, and, you know, providing more healing, if you like, than I ever thought was possible. So within 3 weeks, I just started to notice that those fears and worries and stresses that would constantly enter my mind that I was previously so busy managing, they just didn't even come into my head anymore. It was like they didn't even exist. So, you know, I could go to the park and I could enjoy time with my children because I wasn't constantly worrying that something bad was going to happen, you know, and I began to experience this whole new way of the world. Like I began to experience everything in my life with more joy because I wasn't constantly worried or managing my state, right? And it opened up this whole new, I guess, not only this whole new experience of the world, but it opened up this whole new aspect of myself, and you know, this love for, you know, who I am and who I are. It was like getting a complete personality transplant, if you like. It opened up this capacity for me to get to know myself again, and it was like this new woman was birthed, and I started to realize the things that really lit me up, the things that I really loved and experienced joy from. And so, you know, I had joyful relationships with my kids. I had joyful relationships with my partner. I became a whole lot more zen, you know, and people around me were just like, what are you doing? Like, who are you? You know, I don't even recognize this woman in front of me. What are you doing? And so I just started telling people about this frequency device, and they were like, well, how does it work? And I was, you know, a lot of these people I was talking to were medical, right? And they don't understand the woo-woo side of stuff. But here's what I find, right, as being a, you know, a healer and someone who's more into esoteric kind of healing, what I found with this device is that it gives us this scientific validation, if you like, for more of the esoteric work that we do. So it provides this kind of science, this validation piece to back up what we already know to be true, is that everything is energy, everything is frequency. And if we're working in the space of energy, which is the creation of all that is, it's like, it's that subatomic level that we're working at when we're working with frequencies and energy. We're bypassing the molecular level, which is where the pharmaceuticals work. We're going right down to the very core of all that is, right, which is energy. So what we're dealing with here is that we're working at the root cause. We're working at the root of the problem. And so that is why this medicine of frequencies is so powerful, because it gets to the root cause of the issue. And that is why I saw a woman completely transformed within 3 weeks, without all of the emotional talk therapy, without all of the, you know, I had done lots of work in the past and had never really experienced the kind of results that I'd experienced from working with energy and frequency, because we're getting right to the root cause of things, and it's gentle and it's subtle and it's not traumatic, right? I think I was really afraid previously to go to that deep level of healing because I didn't want to go there. I didn't want to go there. And of course, I didn't even know that I had as much of an issue as what I had, because it's so insidious. And that is what mental health is. It's like all of a sudden it becomes bang, a big problem, and it's like it's completely taken over your life. And that's exactly my experience. And like I said, I didn't even realize that this problem for me was as big a problem as it was, because it slowly, insidiously crept up. And I wasn't in denial. I knew that I had some problems. It's just that I didn't realize how bad it was, because it had become so much a part of my norm to be managing my state, managing constant talk therapy within myself, irrational thoughts, breathing, meditation, you know, so busy managing all the stuff. And then this thing came in and it was like, boom, that's all gone. Here you have all this time, and now you get to really know yourself again. So, I mean, this device, this technology has completely transformed not only my mental health, but my entire existence. You know, there's not enough words to really say the tremendous impact that this technology has had on my life. And even through my cancer journey, I mean, like I said, I wasn't surprised that had come for me. There was a lot of stuff that I needed to shift there. And throughout that journey is when I really got serious about actually managing the emotions. I dealt with a lot of the anxiety and PTSD early on, but I really got serious working on the emotional body and the auric body and the etheric bodies through the aura analysis. So I worked very closely with the auras. I scanned my aura. I balanced out my chakras using the frequency device. You know, I would analyze myself perhaps once a week, and then I would vibrate those frequencies. First of all, I would identify which energy centers were out of alignment. Then I would scan deeper and reveal the specific themes that were actually causing the imbalance, because that's what this device can do. So that was providing insights that I might not have been ready yet to realize. So it was like, bang, here you go, up on a plate. Here it is for you, even though you might not be ready to hear this. And then that provided rapid transformation, because it was right there for me to see and for me to realize and interpret, and whether you resonate with it or not. Straight away you might resonate with it, but then if not straight away, you realize it perhaps a few days later. And then I was able to actually transmit the frequencies to really restore balance in those energy centers, and then heal aspects of that, you know, those themes that were causing the imbalance in the first place. So I would work with the aura analysis a lot throughout that journey to really heal the emotional body, and vibrate those frequencies, you know, a couple of times a day for up to a week, really. And the shifts were so subtle, but so, you know, so big at the same time. I also worked a lot with some of the homeopathic type remedies, because we have a database full of all these incredible, not only the 9 million different frequencies that we have access to, but we have a whole other database of, you know, bush flowers and bat flower remedies and, you know, gem elixirs and things like that. And so, you know, I would work a lot with the gem elixirs, a lot with the bat flower remedies. I would analyze where I was at. Again, it would identify imbalances, provide me with a report, provide insight to me as to what was going on, which again validated, because I knew that the feeling was there. I knew the emotion was there, but I couldn't quite put words to it because I wasn't quite ready. So again, it expedited this healing. And then it was able to dish it up to me on this beautiful silver platter. And then I was able to transmit the frequencies to my field to really balance and restore, you know, those parts of my emotional body that were causing the imbalance. And just as a little side note, absolutely blew me away. Like I've been working with this device for 2.5 years now, and it continues to blow my mind every day. I did an analysis the other day. I'm 8-10 weeks out of surgery. So I did have breast surgery, and I ran an analysis with the gem elixirs, and one of the top priorities came up, and I can't recall the name of the gem, the crystal that came up, but it was something. And then there was an explanation, and the explanation, because the intention that I was holding when I ran the analysis, because intention's really important when you're working in this space, I was holding the intention that I was whole and complete because I just had surgery. I was feeling fragmented and quite disjointed, and I really wanted to focus on, being whole and healed and healthy. So I was focusing on that at the time of the analysis, and the results came up. First thing at like 80% was this particular gemstone. Don't quote me. I can probably send you what it is when I go into my lists and have a look at my results. But it said, no word of a lie, it said, this stone or this gem will support you in feeling whole. It will support you in restoring and healing after trauma from a surgical procedure. And no word of a lie, I'd like almost dropped the phone, because I was like, how the heck does this thing know that I have had a surgical procedure like a few months back? And here I am setting this intention after my experience of being whole and healed and healthy. And here we are. Energy doesn't lie, guys. Energy does not lie. And this is what, 2.5 years I've been working with this device, and it still continues to blow my mind every day. This is what we have our hands on right here with this kind of technology. It's kind of like having a practitioner in your pocket. It's kind of like having a psychic in your pocket. It's kind of like having an energy worker in your pocket. It's like all the things. And, I've been vibrating those frequencies for at least a week, if not 10 days. And it's still coming up in my scans and my analysis. So I've obviously still got some work to do there, right? So just phenomenal. Like, I have 100 stories that I can share with you like that one. And it just blows your mind. It's incredible. And so, I'm so enormously passionate about this technology. In fact, I left my traditional conventional medical job a couple of years ago now. Actually, in 2020, I left my nursing job because I saw what we have here in our hands. I saw the capacity that we have. I experienced it myself, not only in my own personal results, but I saw what was happening for people around me, my loved ones. There is thousands upon thousands of stories that I can share with you like this that will likely blow your mind as well. But the real magic of this is that you get to experience it yourself. Like, this is all about empowering people to take back control of their health. And that is here what it is that we are doing in this movement. We are health practitioners, health professionals, energy workers, conscious spiritual entrepreneurs. We are all here because we believe that this technology is going to change the trajectory of the entire planet. And sometimes that feels a bit big, but it's for real. The world's ready for this technology. The world is ready to take back control of their own health and well-being. The world is ready to elevate their consciousness. The world is ready for this kind of medicine. And I truly, genuinely believe that this is the medicine of the future. And so I'm a stand for it. I'm putting my stake in the ground, and I'm linking arms with the women that are here on this call, and many of the women and men that are going to join this movement, because we will completely change the trajectory of this planet with this kind of medicine. So thank you so much for having me and allowing me to share my story. And I look forward to meeting you all and supporting you on your frequency journey as well. So thank you so much.
Wow, Rachel. I think we're all quite blown away with your story and your authenticity, because I was just putting in the chat, Einstein, I don't know if I've pronounced his name right, he actually said the future medicine will be frequencies. And I wasn't looking for this device when it landed in my world. We were in lockdown, and I was there, we had about 5 lockdowns here in the UK or whatever. But somebody was pinging me frequencies, and I just felt happy in my world. And I thought, what's going on? And so then I investigated it. So absolutely, the future medicine will be a medicine of frequencies. And we are on a mission in the UK, guys, to get this information out there. And it's not easy. We are up against years and years, hundreds of years of manipulation and control. And actually, this doesn't, you break your arm, you need plaster on it, fine, but you can speed up the process. So this transition from taking full responsibility for your health and, mastering your health it's a journey. It's a journey. And I think every one of us that's been working with Healy, I've had mine for about 18 months. Oh my God, one time I had an altercation with my mum. It came up in my scan. I remember looking at it thinking, oh my God. So, what else is possible, guys? I have put in the chat above here, we're going to go on to our scan in a minute, but I've put the Frequency Roadshow. We are really on a mission to launch Healy in the UK. Okay, we start off in London on the 21st. Get yourself there. Oh my goodness. I'm not going to say a lot more about that. Just click on the link. We've got Manchester on the 23rd of June. We've got Edinburgh on the 25th of June. Wherever you are, get yourself to an event and get anybody who is interested in something different for the future, because here's the thing, we have to create it. You are never going to go back to the past. It isn't going to exist. Okay, it's old and it's done. But that's just me and my humble opinion. So anybody got any questions for Rachel? And then Karen, can you bring that scan up just so that we can have a little chat about it as well? Yeah, anybody got any questions for Rachel? Feel free to just unmute yourselves. I put it on gallery view.
I've got a question, Rachel. You talked about, the emotional side of the roller coaster of your cancer and your journey. I resonate very much with you. And in my work, my psychotherapy work, I work with my clients that have anxiety and trauma and stuff like that. And I found that it's helped them as well. But I find it's a tool for the whole journey of our lives, because the quantum and the field is full of fear, especially what's going on at the moment. And we seem to pick that fear up because we're sensitive to frequencies. And so I feel it's a good tool for my clients to take home with them and use outside my psychotherapy, because then they can come back and tell me their story. But it's different, because when they go with the Healy, they come back with I feel a lot better. I'm glad I spoke about it. But I think the Healy's helped move it on faster. And I've seen that time and time again in my clinic. And I think it's fantastic.
Yeah, look, I mean, it really truly is. It's, I know of a few psychotherapists like yourself who have been working with Healy, in particularly to support people with their mental health, anxiety, PTSD, those kinds of things. And actually being in the presence of a psychotherapist, we can get that kind of white coat syndrome where we, because the intention sometimes can't be held in real truth or in real time. So I find that, as we are going through that emotional journey, that we can actually, if you've got a Healy, it's right there. You can analyze and scan as you're having that realization or you're having that emotional thing come up, and it's right there in the moment, and it's going to identify things right there in the moment, specific to that moment. And that might be a big breakthrough moment for you, So it's so powerful. Like, there's a lot of work that we can do when we're one-on-one with clients, but there is so much work that we can do when you get this medicine in your hands to be able to support yourself, you know. So
I love that, yeah, because that's what I do, because what they do then is they buy one, you know, they get one because they need it to carry on their life outside of psychotherapy. So I believe the psychotherapy side of it, and I believe that's what draws them to me. And we talk about it, but I believe the clients that, well, it's true, it's proven in my clinic, the clients that take the Healy and use the Healy and the batch flowers and the bush flowers, they heal quicker than the ones that just want to keep telling me their story. You know, I think it's a really fantastic story. You know, like you said, you can analyze them in the room, but then they can go away. If they've got the Healy, they can carry on with their frequencies. You can help them use it, and then they start using it on their families, and then it becomes, I believe it should be a whole family unit, so then they'll want it in their family, so they're healing the family then, and it goes on and on. It's just fantastic.
It is, it truly is. I mean, even without my husband working with frequencies, because he was a little opposed to the woo-woo stuff. He's a paramedic, by the way, so he has his own fair share of trauma and PTSD, and in denial with all of that in the beginning. And he is now an avid fan, because he's seen the transformation in me. And even without him using it, if you're transforming on an energetic level, then that's going to influence, you know, everybody around you. So it did influence and raise the vibration of the entire household, if you like. And now we have a household that use Healy every day. So, you know, it's become part of our self-care, and a very important part of our self-care. So yeah, incredibly transformative for everyone. And that's the beauty of it, right? You know, even if you don't have a Healy for everyone, the one Healy can be used for multiple people in the house, you know, including your pets, for goodness sake. You know, like, you can use this device with everything. So yeah.
I always get my daughters ringing me up, can I come and use the Healy? I said, we have to get you on, because they come and use the Healy, especially in the traumas, because I like to work on the mind more than anything. They're always talking about their emotions, and they're saying, this has happened to me, can I come and use the Healy? Of course you can, you know. So they've got one now.
And that's beautiful, because, you know, we in society, particularly in this world that we live in today, we are conditioned to push everything down and not express things. You know, we're not fully expressed. We, you know, suppress so much of our feelings and our traumas. We're just encouraged to just get on with getting on with it. And we've been through a freaking shit show, you know, in the world over the last few years. And I mean, it really has taken its toll, as we all know. So yeah, it's affected everybody in some way. So, you know, we have a lot of work to do, you know, as a collective and as a whole. And, you know, the systems are under so much pressure now. We have a real crisis on our hands, and it's only going to get worse. But, you know, we have frequencies that can support people and make huge, huge impacts in the lives of people. And they can empower themselves to work with this kind of medicine. So yeah.
I love what you said about intention as well, because your intention is everything. Your intention in your life is everything. You can have a different thought and create a different future for yourself. This Healy device is like a consciousness device. It works with your consciousness, guys. I mean, so just remembering that, because when you're aligned with it, when you have an intention with it, I go to bed with my Healy with protection on. I put sleep protection on every night, like literally, and I clip it onto my pajamas, and I wake up and my Healy's still on me. I mean, so it's used to doing that for me, and it doesn't feel the same when I don't do that, because of the EMFs, the this, the that, the everything else that's, you know, I'm highly sensitive to all of that shit. So for me, you'll find your gem with Healy for sure, and your consciousness within it. Yeah, Anita saying the same. So do you want to just go back? Is this okay, Karen, to just go back and let's have a look at our little scan? It might have finished by now because we said 26 minutes. Should we just have a look at these programs that came up for all of us? Is that all right, Karen? Have I just landed you on the spot there?
Oh, it's okay. I'm
So
just
much, Rachel.
how to do this again.
Just to go in and do it. Because this is all of us, guys. And these frequencies can be felt, if you're sensitive, wherever you are in the world. And if not, you might just feel, I just feel clearer, or I just feel more happy, or I just feel more at peace, you know? So it's a very, very subtle difference that you might, there we go, emotional well-being, okay? And then well-being soul, okay? So that's being in alignment. And I've been running coherence this morning because I woke up feeling really funky. Feel good systemic, okay? And then contentment systemic. So the contentment systemic is actually what we run for, yeah, Anita saying this is me, is what we run for addictions. Did you know that, guys? So does anybody relate to this? This emotional well-being for me, oh my God, I had to sit in bed, put some lovely music on and run coherence for an hour this morning because I just woke up in real funk. And within 20 minutes, I feel like I'm back. So does anybody else relate to what's come up on this scan?
Anita, can I just ask you quickly, which one did you say was addictions? Contentment?
Yeah, contentment systemic.
Didn't realise that.
Okay. Yeah.
And you know, one of the programs that I loved the most in this one, and it's come up here in the scan, is the where are we, contentment systemic. Yes, it is energetic balancing of the inner sense to self to avoid addictive and compensatory behaviors. And then the other one, the well-being soul. So well-being soul is all about supporting people with their avoidance behaviors. And that was my life. Like, I was so busy being busy to avoid all the pain because I didn't want to freaking deal with it. And so I would get busy, getting busy and like doing all the things. And this well-being soul would come up all the time for me. So like, it was really, again, just the explanation of the program in our manual, you know, this whole thing around supporting people with avoidance behaviors. I was like, oh my God, that is my life. That's what I've been doing. Okay, right. I'm here to freaking shift that. So like, it's just amazing what comes through when you read the manual and the description of these a little closer. So yeah.
Yeah, I think the feel good one works well for me, because that one is the one where you could have this negative thought that, oh, I can't be bothered, or I don't feel like doing that. And I found that when I use that feel good one, I feel my mood lifts. And I think this morning I was feeling that. I was thinking, oh, can I be bothered with today? And so that really resonates with me, the feel good one.
Yeah, it's another beautiful program. I mean, every program in here is absolutely amazing. You know, feel good is all about activation of confidence when you're feeling, you know, crappy. So yeah,
confidence doing work.
Yeah.
Wow. You can't make this stuff up, can you? So I'm conscious of the time, guys. I know that we say on our Eventbrite it's half an hour, but actually we needed 45 minutes. I really hope that you found this is your time well spent, and you will have received these frequencies. For me, in my field, I feel a bit brighter and lighter because I did wake up in a funk. And actually, I ate too much chocolate last night, and that was the frigging contentment systemic thing at work in my world with hormones and what have you. So, oh my goodness, please reach out to the person that, you know, invited you to watch this replay or invited you to be here. Have a chat with them, see what service they can be from you, and if you can, get yourself to one of these roadshows, because there isn't, imagine being in a room with so many other like-minded others, but you can't help to feel lifted up. Not only that, you're making connections going forward. Every choice that we make in life creates our future, guys. So, you know, get yourself to one of these events and get your loved ones to these events. Yeah. So thank you, everybody. Is there anything else? Thank you so much, Rachel. Oh my goodness, it's just been such a pleasure. And Rachel's coming over to England, aren't you? So we're going to see you in person.
Could I just ask Rachel a quick question?
Yes. please do.
Rachel, sorry, just a quick question. I know I put it in the chat, but I'm really curious about how long you're sending the frequencies for, because there's this bit of a disparity between, you know, just send them for 1 minute, 2 minutes, 5 minutes, and then we've got, you know, send them for 26 minutes, an hour, 2 hours. What have you been doing with yours, just out of interest?
So I was guided intuitively by that process, but there are also some guidelines. So more acute issues, they say to transmit the frequencies for shorter periods of time, but more often. So 37 seconds for up to 6 times a day for more of acute issues. I mostly transmitted the frequencies that were more in alignment with the chronic protocol, which is 2 minutes 49, 3 to 4 times a day. So that's how long I transmitted the vibrations, the frequencies for, sorry. And then I did that for anywhere between 3 to 7 days. Whenever I felt the shift or the desire to run another analysis, I would just be very intuitively led by the whole thing, really. So
you did do the short terms, because I know that the fixed girls use it in a different way, and that's why I'm curious as to, I've been playing around with this, that they send them for a lot longer. Yes, I'm just curious. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, you can send them for longer, particularly if you're doing a distant type of, you know, arrangement, but I would be intuitively led. And 2 minutes 49, you know, often 3 times a day is the guideline for chronic. They say if you're dealing with denser matter like houses or vehicles or something like that, if you're vibrating into spaces or buildings, then you do that for longer. But generally speaking, acute versus chronic. But yeah, I mean, you can't really go wrong with this kind of stuff because you're only going to take in what you resonate. But yeah, I kind of stick to the guidelines, but also intuitively work with which I feel to be most in alignment. So
beautiful. Thank you.
2 minutes 49. Yeah, that's okay.
Beautiful, beautiful. Oh my goodness, I just feel so much gratitude for everybody here and everybody that's kind of involved with this work. So anything else to add, Karen, Anita? So Anita's heading up Manchester, I'm heading up London, Karen's heading up Edinburgh, but we're all collectively working together and we're all at all 3 events. So book your tickets, get yourself there. Oh my goodness, get your life just expanding and on track. That's all I can say. Thank you so much, Rachel. She's coming over.